Hello, hello, hello. It's your show host, Regina Huber from Transform Your Performance with the same website, transformyourperformance.com. And today I am here live again from Miami Beach, Florida, United States. Welcome, beautiful souls, to your show, What's Your Spark? Oops. So I am an adventurous, eclectic nomad, and you may have seen me in different locations by now. I love to move from place to place, as you know, and I also love to move to music, as in dancing. Dancing is one of my big passions, and it's a piece of my personal freedom, so to speak. That's important to me because I'm such a free spirit, and all I do is in the service of freedom, the freedom to speak up, stand out, and shine, as the title of my book says. Speak up, stand out, and shine. My eclectic life and experience on 5 continents has shaped me into a multicultural and multilingual transformational leadership coach and inspirational speaker. And while I was traveling and living on different continents, I have seen an infinite variety of sparkling brilliance in people all over the world. Yeah, so I've made it my mission for this show to inspire you to ignite a spark, a strong spark that can turn into a huge flame wherever your path leads you. Yeah, to fuel that flame and turn it into a very strongly burning fire, so you can shine your brightest light out to the world and increase your influence and impact. And in this way, also increase your bank account. And because, sorry, what's going on with my voice today? It's hot in here. Because I'm all about leadership, today I want to tell you about leadership, all the leadership and business lessons dance has taught me. I did another show on dance before, so if you didn't see that show titled Life is a Dance, Dance is Life, definitely go back and watch the recording, because today I'm adding a few details for you about this life that has taken me to so many places and that has shown me so many dances and has had me experience all this beauty and richness of dance as a cultural asset all the way through my life to this very day. So 2 weeks ago, I actually ran out of time when I was telling you all these stories, because there was just so much to talk about. Even though I only got to touch on all these different dances and music styles very briefly and very in a very superficial way. So even though I did it so fast, I couldn't cover everything, right? So I just want to continue on this journey for a moment with you before we go into the business and leadership lessons that dance has taught me, just to make my dance journey so far complete. So I told you about my experiences in Europe, in the US, and in Latin America, and especially in Argentina and Brazil, where I lived for extended periods of time. And some of these experiences included a lot of African influence, or straight out African dances. Even the word tango is African, right? So we have so much African influence in all our music, dance, and we don't often even know it. But of course, I also had such an amazing time experiencing African dance as I was traveling actually on the African continent while I lived in New York City. The African continent is so incredibly rich in culture, in music, dance, and the way people dress, food, very colorful, and you can literally never see it all because there's so much. For me, it all started many years ago in Morocco. At the time, I think I still lived in Argentina. I can't even remember, or was it Brazil? But I didn't really get to see that much dance on that trip. And that, back then I was we were focusing on other things because I was traveling with a friend, and there was just not enough time for everything. But that reminds me also, by the way, that I forgot to mention my belly dance classes in the previous show I did on dance. I did take some belly dance classes in Argentina, and then again a few more with a Brazilian friend in Rio de Janeiro when I lived there, when I lived in Brazil. And later on, I also took some tribal belly dancing in San Francisco, California. But, you know, it was far from enough to make it look nice to watch, of course. It was just fun. I loved it. It's a hard dance to learn, right? It requires a lot of discipline, a lot of control of individual body parts. So yeah, definitely requires some dedication. And I didn't put enough into it, frankly, because then I moved on again, and something else had happened. So after Morocco, I had a long pause as far as my Africa travels are concerned. And I restarted those visits to Africa in Ghana, which was then followed by South Africa, the first time during that same trip. And then many, many more times. I've actually spent almost over 4 months for sure in South Africa, if not more, on different visits, and mostly in Johannesburg, but also Cape Town and Durban and some other places for shorter visits. So then I also traveled to Cameroon, to Uganda and Rwanda. And see, the Ugandan and Rwandan traditional dancing I saw there, I'd literally never seen that anywhere else before, or never before in my life, not even on TV, right? So it was completely new. And of course, they all have also the Afrobeat and the more contemporary rhythms as well, and all the the modern versions of the traditional dances. Every country has their own version of that, of course, but those East African dances were just fascinating to me because I'd never seen them, not even on YouTube, right? Especially when you see them in their beautiful costumes and life, and you're right next to them. It's just such an amazing experience. And then South Africa has its own version also of house dance, for example. Apart from all the different traditional dances, other different tribes, as well as other modern versions of that have derived from those. So I've always been fascinated also by Senegalese sabar dance. I only tried it twice, and that's really nothing. 2 classes is nothing because it's not an easy dance at all, but it's just so fascinating too. I love it. I love to watch it. And maybe one day I'm going to practice more and learn it, go back to classes. Oh, and did I tell you that I also took djembe classes in Buenos Aires, so percussion classes, the African drum. These lessons with a Senegalese teacher were literally instrumental to improving my sense for rhythm, also in dance. And later I took conga classes in Brazil as well. And unfortunately, my djembe stayed in Brazil, and I never owned congas except for a very small one that I had brought back from Cuba once. So I forgot all of that, except, what's left somewhere in my cell memory. So if I pick it up again, it probably comes back. I don't know. So it would really be awesome though to do that. And it's definitely part of my longer term vision. See, dance taught me so many things. It taught me confidence. It taught me body awareness, energy awareness. It improved my posture. It taught me business lessons in co-creation, in sharing space. It even taught me a bunch of leadership lessons. So many lessons. But first, let me explain again why I say dance is life and life is a dance. Well, that's because dance is an art. And to me, life is also an art. I think you would agree. I mean, life is definitely not something that's always easy. It's an art, right? And the trick is to be moving along gracefully through life, about it's about using your space on earth and sharing it with other people at the same time. So finding your space, and then but also respecting other people's space. So let's jump right into the lessons. Okay, so this is about 15 career and leadership lessons, or business and leadership lessons, that dance has taught me. So I did not grow up with dance, yeah, and I've never been a professional dancer, of course, and I started late in life. There were no dance lessons in our little village where I grew up, and there was no internet back then. I discovered my passion for dance in my 20s, although with my business jobs, I didn't make enough time for it until much later, right? So today, I wouldn't want to miss dance in my life ever again, though. It's become an integral part of my weekly routine, and maybe a little less so right now, but still part of it. It was much more a much larger part of it when I was back in New York with all those classes that I took there. But it's the one thing that I always miss the most when I travel to places where I cannot find dance classes, as you know, when I can't find them as easily as in the cities where I lived before, like Munich, Madrid, Sao Paulo, Buenos Aires, San Francisco, Rio de Janeiro, New York. So these are places where there's more of that. And I've pretty much lived in those places in the last 36 years or so, 38. I stopped counting. Anyway, so dance isn't just a pastime for me. It's a way to relax and to power up and to release oxytocin and raise my vibration, but also let go of tension. So when I dance and the embrace of one of my favorite dances, it's like I'm on cloud 9, yeah, on my high flying disc, so to speak. And it's like perfect co-creation to the beat of music that goes under my skin. And it's embodied communication, you could say. Dance is also my preferred way to stay fit, by the way. Yeah, so I don't do only partner dance. I also do very, very physically intense dances, like my house dance classes. The Congolese Ndombolo dance is very intense as well. West African, the dance classes I took in Samba de Gafieira in Brazil, and when I went dancing there, very intense partner dance, yes, but the others that I'm mentioning here are not partner dances, right? So Afrobeat, house, Congolese, Ndombolo, and those are the ones that I had been practicing a lot in New York, and I'm still doing the Ndombolo here in Miami as well, but online. So yeah, so this has kept me fit in many ways, and they're very high energy and very cardio. So in a word, a good, healthy sweat. Right? They usually include a very intense warm-up in the classes that strengthens my muscles, and the technical aspects of these dancers, as well as the choreographies, challenge my mind as well at the same time. But wait, it doesn't stop here. Yes, dance has also taught me a whole lot about leadership, business presence, and teamwork. So that's what I've learned. So let me start with number 1. It's taught me confidence. You cannot be on a dance floor without confidence, and even less on a stage. And I've only been on a few stages, and definitely not in professional settings, more for the fun of it. But anyway, so even in class, moving your body in an unfamiliar way in front of other people until it gets more conditioned and into the new movements can be daunting at times. So I'm thinking of my Afrobeat classes, for example, where every single time I wish I was born in Ghana or Nigeria or in any of those places, in Cameroon, where you basically grow up with these types of rhythms, and you learn to listen to them and distinguish the music and so on. So I now do distinguish music, but the movements are still challenging at times, especially in choreography. So unless you've danced all your life, or you limit yourself to dancing at home, dance requires a certain level of confidence, right? That's a fact. Now, second lesson, making the ask. In partner dance scenes, and especially in the more macho, scenes like salsa and Argentine tango, we followers, usually women, although gladly that's also changing, often depend on leaders, usually men. So, and we depend on them to ask us to dance, unless we of course summon up the courage to break the rules and ask them. And at some clubs, that means walking all the way across the room and possibly getting a no with everyone around you watching. But believe me, the yeses I've gotten have been worth it. 3, saying no. And here's the flip side of the coin, right? I also learned to say no. When I absolutely don't want to dance with somebody, I reserve the right to say no. This usually doesn't have much to do with the dancer's level, but rather the way they lead and how connected they are. And they, are they present in the moment? Are they committed to communicating well? Well, of course, apart from having decent body hygiene, right? That's a must. So, but saying no in dance, as in business and just life, is about setting healthy boundaries. And sometimes it's okay, And 4 is communication, a big one for dance. Dance is all about social interaction, about communication. And communication has a huge place in dance, whether you dance yourself or whether you watch a dance on a stage. Then you can also observe the communication, between people. And dance is all about nonverbal communication. Yes, so in partner dance, being a good follower means I must be able to interpret all the subtle clues and signs and movements that the leader is sending out to me, so I can follow, because if I didn't, it wouldn't be able to communicate together in a harmonious way. It wouldn't look nice, and most importantly, it wouldn't feel good and it wouldn't feel safe. And in all dances, whether they require a partner or not, we communicated with the rhythm of the music, the instruments, other people around us. Yeah, we're sharing space, and possibly also live musicians or an audience even, right? And in partner dance, I'm known as an excellent follower, and that's because I'm good at picking up those clues, right? So it's not just about the rhythm or about steps. We don't know which steps are going to follow, especially in highly unchoreographed dances like tango or samba de gafira, right? So communication isn't only about words, it's about our entire person, our body language, our energy, also in business. And this is the perfect segue to number 5, presence. Dance has changed my body, my posture, and most importantly, the way I use my energy. It has made me more aware of my body and my energy and of its role in business and in my speaking presence. Yeah, it's one of the reasons I've developed the concept of body and energy conscious presence as part of my powerful leadership transformation coaching framework. When we are fully present in our body and in our energy, magic happens. Why? Because it shows, although we might not see it with our eyes or not be able to pinpoint it. We do actually see it with our eyes, but because our visibility increases and people suddenly hear our voices, and there's something about that person who pays attention to their energy, right? Lesson number 6 is self-expression. Dance is all about self-expression, and life is about self-expression, of course, and your professional path is about self-expression. Our career is about self-expression. We've all been given specific talents, gifts, natural strengths, and all of that, and a specific purpose. Yes, and we all have the right to use these talents and to express ourselves through them and through who we are, right, in our careers and in our work. And we also, in this expression, what comes to play is creativity. And that's lesson number 7, creativity. There's no one human being who is not creative. We all are creative in our own way. Yes, dance is different for every single person. The same music will bring out completely different movements or inspiration or choreographies in 2 people. Yeah, in partner dance, my preferred leaders are those who come up with their own style, who take all the elements, the music, the rhythms, the way they hear it, the pauses, movements, and create something completely their own, completely unique with it. And that's why, what I also value in leaders in business. Yes, and maybe you do too. And then dance is creativity, and so is life, right? So we're here to create, to expand, to manifest in the physical world. Manifest what we first create in our minds, by the way. Any music, any movement, any choreography originated in someone's mind first, or rather, they channeled it and they allowed it in, right? We talked about that before. Lesson number 8 is vulnerability. Oh, I have to run through these lessons. There are so many here. so you cannot dance in public without being vulnerable. There's no way. Putting your body movement out for others to see can feel scary for many people, right? Especially for beginners or those who are not really professionals like me, right? And even just seeing ourselves moving in the mirror sometimes can be daunting. And it just takes a little time to get used to it and to really, also in partner dance, we must be willing to accept our dance partners touch. It's like to feel each other's bodies. It doesn't work without that, unless it's one of those partner dances that are danced separately, like sevillanas, or the Argentinian samba with the Z, right? Or any of those. So it's like, in a way, when we dance with a dance partner and we share this more intimate space, it's like saying, I accept you into my intimacy for the duration of this dance, or maybe several dances. Like in tango, we usually do several dances in a row, which are grouped together in so-called tandas. So it's like coming together almost in complicity and co-creating something special together for that moment, right? Almost like a business deal, at least when the dancers handle the situation correctly, right? So I always assume that. So we will enjoy this time in music together. We'll try to make the best of it, and then we might part ways, and we might never ever dance together again. Business partners do that too sometimes. They get together for a specific project, and then maybe they never do a project together again, or maybe they come together again. Yeah, it's their choice, right? And whatever works. So then, yes, number 9, lesson 9 is diversity. So there's an infinite diversity of movements, of course, in dance, in every single rhythm and style. So just when you think you've seen it all, there's something new that you've never seen before, right? And you're surprised again. That's just so freaking amazing. It's so fascinating how much dance teaches us about the tremendous value of our differentness, the richness of diversity, and the abundance of creation, really. So dance has also been a very rich lesson for me in the different cultures, of course, from the, even also I'm thinking of the Orisha dances I came in touch with in Brazil and in the Caribbean, and when I was doing Afro-Cuban dancing also in San Francisco, right? So lesson number 10 is inclusiveness related to diversity. So dance brings together people from all walks of life. It's a passion that people from all socioeconomic and ethnic backgrounds share. And, thanks to travel and to the internet, people get to dances from other parts of the world. Isn't that amazing, right? It's just cool. And we get to even learn them online if we want to. Although I do very much prefer in-person classes, and I always will. It's just completely different. But, some things are not available near me, so I'm doing it online, right? So, and then having said that, though, some dance scenes are all but inclusive, right? As a person who goes dancing on her own a lot, I often encounter cliquish scenes, and that's not really inclusive, right? So being oftentimes I'm also the only white person at some events or classes, and that has sometimes earned me some weird comments at the entrance, like, you sure you're in the right place? Unless I arrived, with one of my friends from that, perceived community, right? So then it's of course different, but it's just a little weird sometimes. And yes, so I just wanted to point that out too. Yes. And oftentimes there's also unhealthy competition, especially among women, just like in workplaces a little bit, which of course is unfortunate. So dance ensembles, on the other hand, wouldn't function without inclusiveness. They just wouldn't. And in a dance company that performs together on stage, excessive competition just doesn't work. Yeah, it would affect its performance and it would even be potentially dangerous. Which brings me to 11. Teamwork. 11. In a dance ensemble, the dancers build on each other's strengths. They rely on each other, right? They need to be able to trust each other to an extent that their lives can depend on it. If they do like aerial movements, which I have done too, sometimes in in somebody theater dancing, by the way, you wouldn't believe it, right? But I did. So yeah, so the dance teamwork is together work, as the word ensemble says. Dance ensemble, because ensemble means together in French. Okay, so number 12 is intention. And well, leaders in dance must transmit a clear intention so we can follow them. Yeah, in partner dance, we establish a connection through energy, movement, and intention. Yeah, so when that's missing, it's hard to follow people. And that leads me to number 13, clarity. And it's exactly the same in business, by the way. Yeah, intention is key in leadership, both in dance and in business. Clarity in partner dance is a typical, there's typically a leader and a follower. We talked about this before. So if I want to be a leader, the only way my follower understands my lead is when it's clear, when there's a clear intention. So clarity and intention are related, really. It has to be clear, focused, and intentional, right? In business, it's the same. If you want to be an effective and respected leader, your action steps must be clear, focused, and intentional so others can understand them and follow you. Yes, so 14 then, we're getting close. 14 is resilience. For someone like me who didn't grow up with dance, some movements and elements of dance can be quite challenging. And, I didn't bring the proper physical preparation to my passion right away, such as flexibility, endurance, and more. And my sense of rhythm has been working in my favor, though. So I can hear rhythm well, and I learned about it a lot. So it has been sort of an initiation almost, I could say. And especially African music has taught me so much about that, But some movements are still incredibly hard. And some, Congolese music is very difficult to hear and to adapt your movements to. It is not easy if you didn't grow up with it, right? Number 15, joy and playfulness. And this is one of my favorite, and it might not be so obvious, but really dance awakens my inner beauty in a way. It makes me playful, except in those moments when I have to work at certain moments, of course, training movements, movements, sorry, that are challenging. But see, dance is also to me about joy. It's about bringing joy back into a day when it's not going so great, right? For example, it makes me feel passionate. And you may ask, well, what does it have to do with business? Well, it has a lot to do with business, because we do need playfulness in business. We need joy, we need passion to bring our projects to a successful end. Yeah, passion is hard to uphold when there's no joy, when we cannot find joy in our work, right? So maybe for you, it's something else that gives you that passion and that joy. So find it, right? It's great, but for me, that's dance. And I also release oxytocin in dance, the love hormone and the bonding hormone. So that gives me an extra push and vibration high, right? So I'm really passionate about dancing, and our passions tend to be closely connected with our purpose, even those who are seemingly unrelated to the work we do. Yeah, I'm curious about, how one of your passions has impacted your business or career. Really, really curious. And I've also created amazing tips and techniques for all 4 elements of the powerful leadership transformation coaching framework here for you, that I'm giving away for free to all leaders and aspiring leaders. So if you're a team leader or manager, or want to learn more about that and want to increase your influence and impact, but are not exactly sure how, then I'm always here to support you. And I've created an amazing free tool, and it's called Outstanding Leadership of Self and Teams. And you can download it for free at my website, transformyourperformance.com/leadership tool. And with that said, I hope to see you next Wednesday at the same time, same place, when I'll have a special guest again. Surprise, surprise. And in the meantime, as always, keep shining in your brightest light, sparkle away like the precious pearl you are, because the world is your oyster.